Good morning and welcome to GrainTV. It's September 21st, 2012. To my left is Logan Burgess and I'm Brock and Corn and soybeans are both slightly positive this morning. Wheat really the leader of the upside, up about 17 cents in Kansas City and Chicago. I think there's a couple pieces of international news that are really driving the wheat market this morning. Russia came out this morning and said that they are now anticipating a domestic harvest of about 70 to 73 million metric tons. That would give them about a 10 to 14 million metric ton exportable surplus. You know, this has really been on the forefront of traders' minds as they're thinking about possible export limitations coming out of Russia down the pipe. But you know, their domestic prices are really rallying sharply in Russia. One way that the ag minister has said that they might curtail some of that rally is by actually releasing some of their intervention stocks, as they're calling it. So that's something we're going to have to pay attention to as we move forward throughout the marketing year.
Yeah,
another piece of information that's really driving the wheat market is news out of Japan this morning.
Yeah, certainly, Brock. Another thing putting a bid in that market is news out of Japan, more on the demand side of things here, not on the supply side as much. 1.21 million tons of wheat is expected to be imported by the Japanese government here in the upcoming year. That's actually a 58% increase from what they expected out of their March report. They really reflected this as corn stocks are tightening. More wheat is going to feed right now. If we actually look at corn going to feed in Japan, they've actually declined that number for the last 7 months here, and we're actually at 20-year lows right now. So this just kind of confirms the scenario that a lot of people have been talking about. There is demand destruction right now being seen in this corn market. Obviously high prices, $7.50, $8 corn is making wheat more attractive for feed there. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. One thing, though, that will be affecting domestic production here this weekend is some concerns about a frost freeze threat. Brock, what's kind of going there? How's this going to drive the market?
We are heading into fall. Saturday is actually the first day of fall. You know, something that will be on the front of traders' minds this weekend is some frost concerns for the northern tier of the growing regions. As you can see here on this map provided by Planalytics, some of the low temperatures tomorrow night are expected to be in the upper 20s to lower 30s for North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, some of those upper Midwest areas.
Right.
But you know, the thing I'd like to point out here is that we're pretty far along on maturity levels for both corn and soybeans. So if you look at where those states are in relation to their corn maturity and their soybeans dropping leaves, the only real areas of concern I'm seeing is Iowa. Some soybeans could be affected slightly, although most of Iowa is going to be okay and be safe from that freeze. But Wisconsin, I think, is going to be the state that we're going to have to pay attention to, as they are only 40% mature on corn and about 52% mature on their soybeans. So that's a state we're going to have to pay attention to. That's a state that could see some damage over the weekend.
Certainly, we'll keep you posted on that here on GrainTV for the rest of today and then on Monday morning. One thing that we are going to be watching closely here this afternoon is the Commitment of Traders report coming out. You know, we looked into the data a little bit. The funds sold net about 39,000 soybean contracts this week, a large number of those coming in the limit down move that we saw on Monday, and on net they sold about 30,000 corn contracts. This is a story that we've been talking about here for a while. The funds right now are extremely net long in both the corn and soybean complex. This afternoon's report will give a little bit of a view into the market composition on Tuesday of this week's action. So all the trade action on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will actually be reflected in next week's report. So it certainly is a trailing indicator here, but it will be good to see how many positions were actually taken off prior to this Tuesday and in Tuesday's action. We will see what happened there on that limit move that, as I said, was on Monday. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. You know, we did get some Informer numbers out here this morning. Unfortunately, there was a delay in their harvested acreage number for corn and soybeans. That's something that we really wanted to focus on this morning. Unfortunately, it was delayed. We will be tweeting about it here when that report does come out. At GrainTV is where you can find us on Twitter. One more thing to keep on your radar here. Next Friday, we'll have the quarterly grain stocks report. We'll be giving you market expectations here coming into that report all next week. But I think that kind of wraps up our show here for Friday afternoon. Brock, thanks a lot for joining us here on GrainTV. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.